12 psychological tricks smart people use to influence others. Have you ever wondered how some people seem to have a superpower? They walk into a room, and suddenly, all eyes are on them. They speak, and people listen. They ask for things, and they get them. No begging, no manipulation, just smooth, effortless influence. What's their secret? Spoiler alert, it's not magic, it's psychology. Smart people, really smart ones, understand how the human brain works. They use subtle, science-backed techniques to connect, persuade, and lead without coming off as pushy or fake. These tricks are used by top negotiators, master communicators, and even psychologists themselves, and once you know them, you'll start seeing them everywhere. Imagine being able to win people over in conversations, get your ideas heard, or shift someone's perspective without raising your voice or trying too hard. Whether you're navigating relationships, work, friendships, or social situations, these 12 psychological tricks will give you an edge most people don't even realize exists. And the best part? You don't have to change who you are, just how you show up. Ready to level up your influence game? Let's dive into 12 powerful psychology tricks smart people use to guide conversations, earn trust, and get results. 1. The power of silence. Silence is uncomfortable, but that's exactly why it's powerful. Most people rush to fill the gaps in conversation, but smart communicators? They lean into silence. They pause right after making a point or asking a question. That pause creates tension, and in that tension, people reveal things. Imagine this: you're negotiating a raise. You say, "I believe my performance justifies a higher salary. What can we do about that?" Then, you stop talking. No rambling, no nervous laughing, just silence. What happens? The other person feels pressure to respond. Often, they'll talk themselves into a better offer, or give away more than they planned. Silence shows confidence. It gives weight to your words. It tells people you're not desperate, and it gives them the space to process what you said, which is exactly what influence is all about. Use silence like a tool, not a void. Here's the trick: don't rush. Let the silence work for you. Count to 3 in your head if you need to. People will often fill it with truths, concessions, or decisions that tip things in your favor. Influence isn't just about what you say, it's also about knowing when to say nothing at all. 2. Mirroring. Ever notice how you naturally get along with people who are just like you? That's not a coincidence, it's human psychology. We're wired to like people who reflect our own behavior, energy, and speech patterns. That's why smart people use a subtle trick called mirroring. Mirroring means subtly copying someone's posture, gestures, tone, or even the words they use. If they're speaking softly, you soften your voice too. If they lean in, you lean in. If they say awesome a lot, you sprinkle it into your own sentences. And the magic? They usually don't notice consciously, but their brain picks up on it. Why does this work? Because it builds unconscious rapport. The brain thinks, "Hey, this person is like me. I trust them." This is the same technique used by top FBI negotiators, therapists, and even charismatic leaders. It's not manipulation, it's connection. But here's the key: it has to be subtle. If you copy someone too obviously, it gets creepy fast. You're not mimicking, they should never feel like they're being copied. You're just reflecting their vibe, their tempo, their style. Try this next time you're talking to someone important. Mirror their body language and match their tone. You'll be surprised at how quickly walls come down and conversations flow more naturally. Sometimes, the best way to influence someone is simply to make them feel seen. 3. The foot in the door technique. If you've ever heard the phrase "start small, then go big," you've stumbled upon a psychological principle that's been used for decades: the foot in the door technique. This trick works by asking for a small favor first, then making a larger request afterward. It's almost like getting your foot into someone's door. Once it's in, it's way easier to follow up with a bigger ask. This technique taps into the consistency principle, the idea that people like to act in ways that align with their previous behavior. Let's break it down with a real-life example. Let's say you're at work, and you want a coworker to help you with a big project. If you start by asking for something small, maybe their opinion on a minor issue, chances are they'll say yes. Now that they've agreed to something small, they're more likely to say yes when you follow up with a bigger request, like actual help on the project. Why does this work? Because once people commit to a small action, their brain wants to maintain consistency. It feels weird to agree to something small but refuse something bigger, even if it's a bit of a stretch. The beauty of this trick is that it doesn't feel manipulative. It's all about building trust first, making it easier for the other person to say yes when it counts. So next time you need a favor, start small. It's a trick that works in negotiations, relationships, and even social situations. Start with something simple, and watch how your requests start getting bigger and more accepted. 4. Name usage. There's a reason why we all love hearing our names. It feels personal, it feels special. And smart people know this trick. Using someone's name during conversation is one of the easiest ways to build connection and influence them. When you say someone's name, it creates a moment of connection and recognition. Psychologically, hearing your name activates the brain's reward center. It makes people feel important, acknowledged, and even more willing to listen. This is why influencers, politicians, and even salespeople make it a point to remember your name and use it frequently. But there's more to it. Using someone's name isn't just a tool for politeness, it's a shortcut to building rapport. When someone hears their name in a conversation, it signals that you're focused on them, not just talking at them. It feels personal. Now, don't overdo it. Too much can come off as forced. But when you drop their name at the right moment, especially in more intimate or serious conversations, it shows that you're paying attention and value their presence. Next time you're in a meeting, conversation, or casual chat, try using the other person's name naturally. It'll instantly make them feel closer to you and more open to what you're saying. That's influence at its simplest. 5. Social proof. You've probably heard the saying everyone's doing it. Well, that's not just a phrase people say to convince you, it's a powerful psychological principle called social proof. Simply put, social proof is the idea that people are more likely to do something if they believe others are doing it too. Think about it. When you're shopping online, do you look at the reviews before buying a product? That's social proof in action. You see that others have bought it, liked it, and recommended it, so you're more inclined to do the same. The same goes for anything from fashion trends to political opinions. We tend to follow the crowd, whether we realize it or not. Smart people use this principle all the time, whether it's highlighting positive reviews, mentioning how everyone's talking about it, or showing you how many people are involved. Social proof is a powerful influence tactic. The reason it works so well is because people feel safer in numbers. It's a psychological shortcut. If others are doing it, it must be okay. So, when you're trying to convince someone of something, show them that others, especially those they respect or look up to, are already on board. It will make them much more likely to follow suit. 6. The Benjamin Franklin effect. It sounds counterintuitive, but one of the best ways to get someone to like you is to ask them for a favor. The Benjamin Franklin effect is a psychological phenomenon where people tend to like others more after they've done a favor for them. It's based on a simple principle: people don't like to feel inconsistent. When they do something for you, especially something that takes effort, their brain convinces them that they must like you in order to justify that action. It's almost like their mind tries to align their behavior with their emotions, creating a sense of liking and trust. For example, imagine a coworker helps you with a task. Later, when you need help again, they're much more likely to say yes because their brain has already decided they like you. You've created a loop: ask for something small, get their help, and they'll start seeing you in a more positive light. This technique works wonders for building rapport and trust in both personal and professional relationships. If you want someone to think better of you, don't be afraid to ask for a little help. It might just change how they feel about you. 7. Labeling. Words have power, especially when they're used to influence how someone behaves. One trick that smart people use is called labeling. Labeling works by giving someone a positive trait or characteristic, and subtly encouraging them to live up to it. Here's how it works. Imagine you want your friend to pitch in more at work or contribute in a group setting. Instead of asking them directly, you could say, "You're always so responsible. I know you'll handle this perfectly." By labeling them as responsible, you've set an expectation for them to live up to. When people are labeled in a positive way, they often feel subconsciously motivated to act in a way that aligns with that label. This is because humans are wired to want to fulfill their own self-image and the expectations others have of them. It's a powerful way to influence behavior, but be careful. Labeling someone with negative traits can backfire and make them resist. The key is to use positive labels that make the person feel good about themselves, like thoughtful, creative, or hardworking. These labels encourage them to continue acting in ways that support those traits. 8. Scarcity effect. Ever noticed how things seem more desirable when they're hard to get? That's the scarcity effect at work. People are wired to want things that are rare or limited. The moment something seems scarce, its value in our minds skyrockets. Think about limited time offers, only a few left signs, or exclusive access to events. You've probably felt the rush to act quickly before the opportunity disappears. That's because the scarcity effect triggers a fear of missing out. Or FOMO. When people believe they might lose the chance to get something, they often act impulsively to secure it. Smart people use this principle to influence decisions, whether it's in sales, negotiations, or even social interactions. Making something feel limited can push people to make decisions they wouldn't normally make. It's not about lying, it's about emphasizing the limited nature of the offer. Next time you're negotiating or selling something, mention how few spots are available or how time-sensitive the offer is. You'll tap into people's innate desire to secure rare opportunities. 9. The consistency principle. Humans love consistency. We want our actions to align with our past choices, beliefs, and attitudes. That's why consistency is a powerful tool in influencing others. The consistency principle is the idea that once people commit to something, they're more likely to stick with it, even if it becomes inconvenient. Let's say you've convinced a friend to help you move a couch. They said yes to a small favor, but the moment they agreed, they began to mentally commit to being helpful. The next time you ask for help with something bigger, they'll feel much more inclined to say yes even if it's a huge ask. This is because humans don't like to act out of character. If they've made a commitment, even a small one, they'll want to follow through with future actions that stay consistent with that commitment. The principle of consistency is incredibly effective in both personal relationships and business. If you want someone to take action, get them to commit, even if it's in a small way. It will make them more likely to take bigger steps later on. 10. Framing. The way you present information can completely change how it's received. That's the power of framing. Whether you're pitching an idea, explaining a problem, or negotiating a deal, how you frame the situation can make all the difference. Here's a simple example. Imagine you're selling a product. If you frame it as 90% fat-free, it sounds way better than saying it's 10% fat. Same product, but the way it's framed influences the perception. Smart people know how to frame things to make them seem more appealing. It's not about lying or manipulating, it's about emphasizing the positives and downplaying the negatives. How you present your offer, your idea, or your argument shapes how people will respond. So, whether you're making a pitch at work, trying to convince a friend of something, or even just describing a product you love, think about how to frame your message to highlight the benefits and make it more appealing. 11. Anchoring. Have you ever been shopping and saw an item marked was $500, now $250? That's anchoring in action. Anchoring is the psychological phenomenon where people rely too heavily on the first piece of information they receive, what's called the anchor, and compare everything else to it. In the example above, the original price of $500 sets an anchor. Now, $250 seems like a steal, even if the product was never actually worth $500. The first price shapes how you perceive the second one. This trick is used in negotiations, sales, and even casual conversations. For example, if you're trying to negotiate a price, you might mention an inflated figure first, even if you don't expect it to be accepted. This sets the anchor for future negotiations. 12. The because effect. Ever noticed that when you give a reason, any reason, people are more likely to agree with your request? That's the because effect in action. Psychologist Ellen Langer conducted a famous experiment where people were far more likely to let someone cut in line at the copier if they gave a simple reason, even if the reason wasn't particularly compelling. For example, saying, "Can I cut in line because I'm in a rush?" got a much higher rate of compliance than simply asking, "Can I cut in line?" The reason doesn't have to be important, it just has to exist. Our brains are wired to believe that there's always a reason behind requests, so we're more likely to comply when one is given. This is a great tactic for everyday conversations. Whether you're asking for a favor, making a request, or negotiating, just add a quick because, and watch how people start saying yes more often.